What is up, guys? It is bonus round TCG back at it again with another video. Got a couple of requests for the combos with this Earth Machine deck. So this is my same deck from the deck profile that I did in my last video, and I'm just going to walk you through kind of how to play the deck, the combos that I go for, and I'm going to kind of run through them fast, but also just explain my reasoning for why I like certain things. And yeah, it's kind of straightforward. I'll go ahead and just dive into the FTK combo. Now this deck, like I said in my last video, you can burn your opponent FTK for 8,000 damage on your first turn where they don't get to play at all. Now you can only accomplish this if you don't get hand trapped or with very other specific cards. So you're not necessarily relying on this FTK to win you every game, but it's a pretty sweet combo, and I always at least start off trying to do it, burn through my opponent's interruptions, and then play from there. So I'll show you how you can FTK your opponent with just these two cards. Of course, like I said, going uninterrupted. Vernisylphs in this deck are awesome, big part of this combo. So start your main phase, you normal summon your Machina Gearframe. Use Gearframe's effect, and he's going to add Machina Uncla Spare to your hand. His effect, when he's added, of course, he's going to special summon himself, and on the field, his effect will activate to send a Machina from deck to grave. We're going to summon the Citadel. It is a Earth Machine, very important. A lot of people like the Ruin Force in this deck, but it's with the Vernisylphs, it's just very important that you use all Earths. So from here, we're going to overlay into our Gear Gigant X, and Gear Gigant X effect, detach for cost, to search you your level 4 or lower machine, Flying Pegasus, Railroad, Stampede. This is where you start using your Vernisylphs. Effect discards both monsters for cost. You're going to search for a Vernisylph monster, and then it's going to Monster Reborn an Earth. So here you're going to Monster Reborn your Flying Pegasus, and on summon, Pegasus effect is going to special summon. You're going to target your Citadel to special from grave. Pegasus effect, target your Citadel to make them both level 10, and then you're going to overlay here for your Gustav Max. Gustav Max effect, you're going to detach to burn your opponent for 2k. They're now at 6,000 life points. These two are done here, so we're going to link them off into Ancient Gear Ballista. And Ballista effect on summon is going to search you Ancient Gear Box. Box effect, when he's added, is going to search you an Earth Machine with 500 attack or defense. Typical Earth Machine combo is going to go for the Infinitrack Tunneler here. We're going for the Trencher, and this is exactly why. You're going to use your new Vernisylph to discard with the Trencher to add another Vernisylph monster from your deck to hand, specifically an Earth Fairy, actually, with Mystic Seedlings. And then you're going to Monster Reborn either your Machina Citadel or your Gustav Max. Doesn't matter which, because you're going to use this Vernisylph to Monster Reborn the other one, discard it with the Gearbox to Foolish Burial your Infinitrack Harvester, and then it's going to Monster Reborn an Earth, which is going to be your Machina Citadel. You're going to have both of these, so you Monster Reborn in either order, you're going to end on both. From here, you have your Trencher ready to banish from graveyard, targeting your Infinitrack Harvester to special summon, and then Harvester effect is going to finally add your Brutal Dozer. Right here, you're going to tribute your Ballista for your Brutal Dozer, and then Brutal Dozer's effect is going to special summon your Tunneler here. Got 5 full monster zones. That's all you need to work with. Pretty full board here, but you're going to overlay into the River Stormer. Of course, River Stormer effect, search out the Regulus. A lot of people have asked if you need to play multiples of this copy. I do play it at 2, but you just need the one Regulus for this combo, and your River Stormer is going to search it out. You really just need one Regulus in this deck if you're going to go for the FTK. I just personally prefer the 2 in my deck. Regulus is going to use his effect here to special summon himself, targeting to equip your Machina Gearframe. Very important that you equip the Gearframe here, as he is a Union monster. Once you clear your board a little, you're going to link summon off your River Stormer into Goliath, and that will open up a spot for your Gearframe effect to unequip himself and special summon to the monster zone. Now, here you're going to link for 2 into your double-headed Anger Knuckle. Whoops. And on the summon, you're going to use your Goliath effect to equip it to your Gustav Max. Now, this Gustav Max is live again. It's not a hard once per turn, and now that it has a material, he can use his effect to detach to burn your opponent for another 2,000. So they're now at 4,000. And everything you have here, you're lined up, you're ready to go for game. You're going to use your Harvester effect, targeting your Regulus to level modulate, 8 and 2 to make both of them level 10, and then you're going to overlay your level 10 and your level 10 for your second Gustav Max here. Gustav Max effect is going to detach to burn your opponent for 2k. They're now at 2,000 life points. And for the final Gustav Max, you're going to use your Anger Knuckle here, sending for cost a monster to special summon a level 10 from your grave. You special summon back the Machina Citadel. And then if you have a third Gustav Max, you just overlay right here for game. I'm only playing the 2 Gustav Max in my deck. So you banish the Infinitrack Tunneler to shuffle it back to your extra deck. It doesn't matter what the other cards are here, but depending on what you think you might go for, I'm very conflicted about shuffling back the box because I hate to draw it again, but being able to search it again with your Ballista is kind of nice, just in case things fall through here. So let's just say, for the sake of things, you're going to shuffle back your Ballista. You shuffle your deck, you draw 2 cards, doesn't matter what they are. Your Regulus is level 10 because of the Harvester effect, so you're going to overlay your Regulus and your Machina Citadel for that Gustav Max one more time, and then use its effect to burn your opponent for game. So this is, like I said, not the most reliable way to win games with this deck, but if you go totally interrupted, if your opponent's only playing board breakers and they don't have a single Ash or Imperm to interrupt anything you do, all you need is the Machina, Gear Frame, and a Vernisylph to FTK your opponent. Now, people ask how frequently this happens or how often you see it. With Machina Redeployment, you really have 6 copies of this card, pretty easily accessible, and you don't need to start with the Vernisylph of the Flourishing Hills. You can start with her or the Misting Seedlings. So you have 6 copies of the Gear Frame, and you have 6 Vernisylph targets in a 40-card deck. It's not that uncommon that you're going to open both, either these two, or redeployment with one of these. So it's not the absolute, like I said, not the most reliable way to win games with this deck, but it's super fun. People usually have no idea what the heck you're doing when you're comboing off like that. And if they have no interruptions, it's just GG's. So I'm going to walk through a couple other combos here and maybe just a test hand to kind of see the inboards that I'm going for. But that is the FTK. All right, so this is kind of the bread and butter combo. This is what I'm trying to accomplish pretty much every duel. Obviously, I'm going to go for the FTK if I can, but I'm not going to rely on that to win me games. So this is kind of the most standard combo, with just these 2 cards, Harvester and Gear Frame. Of course, Harvester is its own 1-card combo. It's a draw 2, basically, with the rest of your hand. It can extend you into a lot more, but I'm just going to show you this combo here. To kind of accomplish the inboard that I'm going for every duel. So start off in normal summon your Gear Frame. Gear Frame effect, add the Machina Uncla Spare. His effect is going to special himself from your hand, and then his effect on summon is going to send your Machina Citadel to grave. Again, a lot of folks like playing the Ruin Force. I prefer the Citadel. It's a level 10 Earth machine, and it has a lot of utility on your opponent's turn. It's just awesome to have it in grave. From here, you're going to link summon into the Platinum Gadget, and use Platinum Gadget's effect to special summon your Harvester from hand. From here, you're going to go Harvester effect, add your Brutal Dozer, and then you can link summon into your Goliath, and then tribute your Goliath to special summon your Brutal Dozer from hand. Brutal Dozer's effect is going to special summon your Infinitrack Trencher. And then from here, of course, you're going to overlay into your Infinitrack River Stormer. River Stormer's effect, detach for cost to search for your Therion King Regulus. And then at this point, you can either summon the Regulus or link off your River Stormer. Doesn't really matter. If you're afraid of Nibiru, you can get the Regulus out first, but depends on what the situation is, of course. I'm going to use River Stormer's effect in grave, tributing the Platinum Gadget to special summon himself out. And then usually here, your opponent's going to Nibiru you already, so I'd use my Regulus. Probably bait the Nibiru, perhaps, Regulus effect to special out the Gear Frame. Or sorry, special himself out, equip the Gear Frame. Now, Gear Frame is a union, so he's going to be able to special summon himself out. But right here, usually go for the Ancient Gear Ballista. You can use the Gear Frame there. You can use your Goliath. It's a little free play depending on what else you have in your hand. But for combo's sake, I'll just use those 2 and leave the Gear Frame here. Ancient Gear Ballista searches Ancient Gear Box, which also searches Infinitrack Tunneler. At this point, you're going to tribute your Ballista to special summon your Tunneler, and you're going to link off your Tunneler into an Infinitrack Goliath. Now you're going to use your Machina Gear Frame. He's a Union monster, unequip. Special summon, link these two into your double-headed Anger Knuckle. Now here I'm going to banish my Tunneler from grave, targeting 5 monsters in my grave to shuffle them back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to try to shuffle back your Machina Citadel, but you're going to chain your Anger Knuckles effect, tributing himself, targeting your Machina Citadel to special summon from grave. So that's going to shuffle these back into your extra deck. It's going to special out the Citadel, and then you're going to draw 2 blank cards. And then right here, I'm going to banish my Infinitrack Trencher from the grave to special out my Harvester. I'm going to use Harvester's effect, targeting the Regulus, the level modulate, make Harvester level 10, and then overlay here for the Super Dora. I like ending on a Super Dora, usually in defense mode, honestly. And depending on what else you have in your hand, you know, if you can get your Bullet Train running, if you can get Heavy Forward equipped to this, that's awesome. But I'll usually, on my opponent's turn, maybe respond to something they're doing, or maybe go draw phase, activate his effect, attach the Citadel. So then you're ending on a Regulus negate, unaffected Super Dora, and then your Machina Citadel in grave ready to go if they do destroy either of these monsters. A lot of the times with the Vernisylphs and the other cards I'm playing in this deck, I'm going to end with a Skill Drain and the Urgent Schedule set face down to get me to next turn. And then the win condition of this deck really is on your next turn, you're going to kill your opponent. You're going to, on the clapback, when they've tried to use all their resources to out your board, you're going to, you know, draw your card. You probably have 3 other cards because the Machina and the Harvester were just 2 cards. So you have just so much hand advantage. You have so much in your graveyard that has utility, and it's just a really optimal way. There's a lot of decks cannot really break this board unless they've specially prepared for it in some weird way. And then by the time it gets back to you, like I said, you have so much advantage that you just push for game. So that is kind of the bread and butter, just a 2-card combo that is a Regulus and a Super Dora. A lot of people look at this end board and say it's not a lot, but it's all about what you have in your graveyard ready for next turn. It's your card advantage that you have, and like I said, with the Vernisylphs, it really plays through interruptions. Alrighty, so now that I have gone through the FTK and kind of a bread and butter combo with the deck, I'm just going to shuffle us up here and deal out starting hand and just kind of see what kind of inboard I make. I know that a lot of people play this deck a lot of different ways, and it's kind of interesting playing with solitaire hands because you have the potential to FTK, but this deck does a lot more than just try to FTK your opponent. It gets big bodies on board. You can play under Skill Drain. Citadel is such a hard card to deal with that I'm comfortable playing this deck against anything without, you know, if my FTK gets interrupted, I'm not too sad about it. So starting off, this is not an amazing hand, honestly, but it's crazy how well this deck can play because, you know, opening the Regulus, having access to your Machina engine and a Skill Drain is still pretty scary. So here you just activate your Machina redeployment. Opening 2 drills sucks, so we're going to pitch one of them and add. Honestly, I like to add the Unkla off of the redeployment here so I don't have to waste it for the gear frame. I kind of like to just add both of these here with Machina redeployment. When Unkla is added, he's going to trigger, special summon himself, and then he's going to send to the grave our Machina Fortress. I like to send the Citadel, of course, but if you get him off the add, I like to use the normal summon here, normal summon your gear frame, and his effect is going to add you the Machina Citadel. There you are. Add the Machina Citadel. And with Machina Citadel in hand, you have the Machina Fortress in grave, pitch to special summon. So honestly, what I like to do here maybe is overlay into the Gear Gigan X and use my Gear Gigan X effect, detach to search for Infinitrack Harvester here. Now, if I wanted to, I guess before using his, or after using his effect, you want your gear frame engraved. So I'm gonna go ahead and special out my Regulus, targeting the gear frame. You can summon out your fortress here if you want, or you could use your gear frame effect to special summon and then link it away into your Platinum Gadget. From here, you're playing Platinum Gadget effect is going to special summon your Harvester, and you're going to use your Harvester effect to add your Infinitrack Brutal Dozer. This is going to be your typical Earth Machine combo here. So link away into your Goliath, and then tribute your Goliath to special summon the Brutal Dozer. Brutal Dozer effect is going to special summon a Trencher. I'm going to overlay here into Riverstormer. Of course, Riverstormer effect, detach. This is where I like to search for my Regulus, but honestly, I'm going to go ahead and just search into the Super Express Bullet Train. Now, I know a lot of Earth Machine decks are playing Bullet Train, the Dairy Crane, sometimes multiple copies of both. I really do like the Dairy Crane, but trying to slim this deck down to 40 cards is really tough. And like you see in my main combos, I rely on Citadel as my level 10 to really build boards. This is kind of just a win more card for me. So I'm going to use this for my recursion to get my Regulus back to hand over and over again throughout the duel. But if you open your Regulus, then you can use your Riverstormer to search for this. It would be nice to have the option to search for the Dairy Crane. I might try and fit it back into this deck, but I think that this deck does enough without it that Dairy Crane isn't going to be make or break card for me. So at this point, I'm not only only controlling Earth, so I'm still controlling the light here. So you can link off your Riverstormer and then use Riverstormer's effect, tribute your link. It's a special from Grave. Right here, you can special out your Bullet Train and then special summon. You can leave it on board as a level 10 if you'd like. You know, right here, you could link these two into your Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista effect is gonna add you your box. Your box is going to add you your tunneler. You can just go for your kind of generic draw 2 here and tribute the ballista here to special out your tunneler. Link your tunneler away. You have a Goliath on board. You can go for the Anger Knuckle here if you really want to. You can pitch this, which actually I like my Citadel engraved, so that is exactly what I'm going to go for. I'm going to pitch the Citadel to special out my Fortress that I sent way back when. And then I'm just going to link my Fortress and my Goliath into the Anger Knuckle. Actually, I'm going to save that because you can utilize this to equip to your level 10. So here, I might even go Trencher, finally use effect, banish from Grave, target the Harvester. Special back to the Harvester. Use my Harvester's effect, target my Regulus. Regulus and Harvester become level 10. So now I have my 2 level 10s for my Super Dora. My Citadel is still engraved here, and then if I want to link these guys off, you know, you can leave these on board because they're just more Earth Machines. Citadel is an interruption if they try to target him, or you can link these off into the Anger Knuckle. On summon, use the Goliath's effect to equip himself from Grave. And then you can finally go for your Tunneler here. Shuffle back 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you can target this and then tribute your Anger Knuckle and snag it back. But let's just say we'll put the Brutal Dozer back. It's not a horrible draw. I'm playing the 2 Trenchers, so there is a chance I could resolve it again. So all of these back to the extra deck. We're going to shuffle our deck real good. We've been thumbing through it a lot, so shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then we're going to draw 2 cards. At this point, it's just win more. This is actually pretty ridiculous. You draw 2 Vernacells with different names. You could use them right now if you want to, but I would, at this point, just save these to make sure I'm going to kill my opponent next turn and I'm going to be playing. You're going to set your skill drain here, and what's really cool about kind of stalling out for your next turn, of course, depending on what your opponent has, you're going to flip your skill drain. You might not even have to. Your Regulus is going to send himself for cost to negate something, so he can negate under skill drain. You know, before you flip it, maybe you're going to detach your Bullet Train here to protect your Super Dora. You have your Bullet Train engrave, and then your Anger Knuckle is able to, quick effect on your opponent's turn, send himself for cost to special summon back a level 10 if you want to summon this back, or summon your Citadel just to get your Anger Knuckle engrave. During your next turn, you can use your Anger Knuckle's effect to send Skill Drain to the grave, special summon himself out, have all of your effects live. During your end phase, your Bullet Train would have added back your Regulus. And then you're starting your turn. Opening the heavy forward is just kind of busted. You can equip it to this. This right here is going to kill your opponent. And yeah, that's actually crazy. It's really fun to see this deck work with all the different pieces. Like I said, that opening hand wasn't great. Seeing a Regulus and a Machina redeployment doesn't look like much. But, just these 3 cards. This was your discard. I had another Droll, and then the Skill Drain, of course, just another win more card. So that's kind of how this deck plays. It's got a lot of options. It's got a lot of utility. You can use your Machina stuff with your Infinitrack stuff. You can use them kind of independently to get to each other. And this deck just has so much recursion, so much ability to play through things. I wish that test hand had open to Vernisylph, because it's always cool to see how the deck interacts. You can get a lot with a little using these cards. But like I said, if I'm not going for the FTK, I do like to save these for my opponent, after my opponent passes, gets back to me, and then use a Vernisylph to just out-resource, revive everything from my grave, send more stuff to my grave. It's just really, really strong with this deck. I think I'm going to do one more test hand here, just to see what we get and see if we can maybe see a Vernisylph or 2 just to see the type of impact that it can have on your turn going first. Like I said, I usually use it for FTKs, but if your opponent does interrupt you, if they try to Nibiru you, you just keep playing. You revive all your pieces from the grave, you have the Foolish Burial to load your grave with more stuff that you need, and it's just awesome. So shuffle us up here again, cut the deck, and deal us out 5 cards. So here we have Vernisylph of the Awakening Forests, the 1 of Railroad Stampede, Skill Drain, Open to the Tunneler, and Heavy Forward. So this is awesome. This is a really good opening hand, I think. Having access to the Vernisylph. This is not the best one to open. You'd like to see the other 2, but just its utility is still awesome. It makes this super live, and opening your Heavy Forward, of course, is full combo, basically. So start off here, activate the Heavy Forward, go into Infinitrack Harvester. You can use a Vernisylph to special summon this if you save your normal summon, if you also have other things you want to do. But in this case, we're going to normal summon the Infinitrack Harvester. We're going to use Harvester's effect to add the Brutal Dozer, and then we're going to link off into the Infinitrack Goliath, tribute the Goliath for the Brutal Dozer, and use the Brutal Dozer effect to special summon the Trencher. Oh, both Trenchers. 1 Trencher. I like playing the 2 Trenchers in this instance because I open the Tunneler. I can just add the other Trencher off of the Ancient Gearbox, which is super nice. Overlay here into your River Stormer, and use River Stormer effect to touch. In this situation, it's really interesting because I have a lot of options of things to search for. With the Vernisylph, he's going to be a Foolish Burial. I think I like my Regulus here still, because having a negate and then having a way to kind of recur that negate, especially with Skill Drain in hand, is awesome. So at this point, we're going to activate this Vernisylph's effect, Awakening Forest, discard himself and a monster card to Foolish Burial, a monster that can be normal summoned or set. This is where I would Foolish Burial my Bullet Train, and then Monster Reborn. You can really go for whatever you want for link material here, but of course the clear option is going to be Monster Reborn your Flying Pegasus, and use its effect to Monster Reborn your Bullet Train. Now here you can use Pegasus effect. You could go into your Super Dora right here if you want to, and that's not a bad idea, but I'm going to keep playing. You want to get all your stuff engraved, so I would just take these two, honestly, just link them off into Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista's effect is going to add me the Ancient Gear box, which is going to add me the other copy of my Infinitrack Trencher. I love having access to two of them, obviously not using them in the same turn, but having two in your grave is pretty ridiculous. You link summon off here into your Infinitrack Goliath, and then at this point, probably go for the draw 2 combo here, tribute to special, link off here into your last copy of Goliath, and then 2 copies of Goliath for your Anger Knuckle. You know, you may want to Regulus sooner, but we're pretending that our opponents have no interruptions, so we've gone this far. We're going to equip the Bullet Train to... No, you'd like to equip your Bullet Train to your Regulus, which actually, you know, seems like the best option, but we only have access to the 1 level 10 engrave. So here I'm actually probably going to equip something kind of useless to my Regulus, maybe the Railroad Stampede just to get Regulus out on board, but you want to use your Anger Knuckle to special summon this back. I might want to just send himself to the grave, target my Bullet Train special back, and then here you're going to banish your Trencher engrave, special back your Harvester. Harvester effect, level modulate, target the Regulus, make both of them level 10, and then overlay here for your Super Dora. You can use your heavy forward effect equip here, and then you still have your skill drain to set, still have the Tunneler, banish from GY. You can put back all these guys, but I like having the Anger Knuckle engrave because of his effect special back. So at this point I would probably just put back the Brutal Dozer, keep the Anger Knuckle engrave. This is my graveyard. It's a lot smaller than you really like to see at the end of these boards, but honestly, both the River Stormer and the Anger Knuckle have a lot of utility. If you get out an Infinitrack, you link it off into the Goliath, you use River Stormer effect to special back from grave, you equip the Goliath to your River Stormer, and then you search for any Earth Machine. It's just crazy. Cut here, draw 2 more. And, you know, actually not horrible. I mean, really not great draws because you're not going to be playing with them on your turn. But I don't hate having the Unclaspar in my hand for next turn. I'm obviously going to be setting the skill drain here. So that is kind of the inboard from that hand. Again, it wasn't the most ideal hand, but it is pretty nice how consistent you can get the Regulus on board with your Super Dora. And that alone is usually enough to last you till your next turn. The skill drain is just kind of a win more card. So that's kind of the deck in a nutshell. Of course, if anyone has any other comments or questions about anything, just drop a comment. I've played this deck all kinds of different ways, and like I said on my last video, I think this is my favorite way to play this deck right now. It definitely is not amazing with Droll being in the format right now, because that card is, you know, pretty rough on Vernisylphs in general, but it's rough on this deck if they Droll you right after you either search with heavy forward, Machina, Gear Frame, Harvester, you get Drolled. It's not a fun time. So I appreciate y'all watching the video. This is one of my favorite decks. I'm always happy to kind of talk about it, break it down, and this video is a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope you guys enjoy it. And thanks for watching.